Good evening, folks. Welcome to this week's episode of Beer Rating with Sean Connors. Now, right away, you're probably wondering, with the first frame of the video, you're probably thinking, that's kind of strange. He doesn't have the label facing the camera, which I normally do. When in fact, I do, because I'll zoom in again so you can see there's really very little information, and this is pretty well the front of the can, believe it or not. You might be thinking that's kind of odd, and doing a little bit of research, this is actually a Swedish beer. It's a brewery that was founded in 2010 by a brewer and a graphic artist, and from what I read online, they're pretty well known for their designs of their cans. And they're actually a gypsy brewery, and what that means, basically, they design and market the beers, but they don't actually brew it. They hire or rent vats and space and time from other breweries, and they brew the beer for them. So that's, if you hear the term gypsy brewery, that's what it is. So this beer is actually, I believe it's a double IPA, 8.5% alcohol, so it's a strong beer. It's out of Stockholm, and the name of the brewery is Omnipollo. O-N-N-I-P-O-L-L-O. Omnipollo. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, so I apologize for that. But if you think I bastardized that, the name of the beer is even worse to pronounce. And the name of the brewer, I'll spell it. It's Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar. I actually Googled it, so I'm just gonna. I'm not sure how well you can pronounce this or hear this. Nebuchadnezzar. So that's the name of the beer. And doing a quick Google search, I believe the brewer, they just say Neb, and basically it was a homebrew recipe that they kind of developed into a regular beer. And the name itself, from what I gather, it's a Babylonian king, and I guess he's known in the Bible. I'm not a big Bible person myself, so I can't really tell you much more. But they call it an Imperial Indian Pale Ale. And normally if you hear Imperial, you're going to see high alcohol contents. And I believe the first time Imperial, I believe it was used in either a stout or a porter. And I believe it was actually brewed for Russian kings. And I believe that's where the whole Imperial thing comes to. And I would take a guess, I would say the high alcohol content in Imperial was probably done so the beer would last while it was imported to Russia. I don't know that for a fact, I'm just guessing. Yeah, it says brewed and canned for Omnipollo in Toronto, Canada, as I said. So represented by craft brand company, Toronto, Ontario, blah blah blah, and not much more information. I believe there's several. I think there's a brewery in Canada, a brewery in the States, and different countries, and they brew the beer for the brewery out of Stockholm. All right, now it's IPA, and anybody that follows me on a regular basis, I'm not a big IPA fan, but I love trying new beers that I've never had before. Normally, when I'm picking out my beers, I'll go to my NLC, Newfoundland Liquor Corporation, and obviously I want to find beers I've never had before. But if I come up with something really unique, or I come across something really unique, that's even better. And that was the case with this one. A lot of times, it might be kind of like the Bologna beer I had there a while ago. I mean, who would think, Bologna and beer? So that one I had to try. If it's a style that I've never had, by all means. I think I had one, probably about a year and a half ago, a Leichenheiner, I believe it was. And that was a smoked sour, so that was kind of unique. And I seen this one, the can kind of drew me right to it, which graphic artist, so that kind of makes sense. And then I'm looking at it, and there's not much information. And then I seen the name of the beer, which, once again, Nebuchadnezzar. So it had to get that. As I said, I'm not a big IPA fan, so double IPA, I'm kind of like, yeah. But obviously I want to try it. Pretty sure it's going to be hoppy. IPAs generally are hoppy, so double IPA obviously it should be. Pale ales were, at the time, pale ales were common. British troops were in India, and the problem was, by the time the pale ale got there, it was gone bad. So what they did, they added more hops as a preservative, and that's how Indian Pale Ales came about. Okay, I can even smell the hops right away. So it's definitely a hoppy beer. This beer, from what I've seen online, has won several different awards. So it's known as a good quality beer. But like I said, I'm not a big IPA fan. But let's see what we're going to get. And this is cloudy, really cloudy. So I'm assuming it's not filtered. But it is hoppy. So if you love hoppy beers, by all means try this one. And specifically referred to Chris, engineering buddy of mine from the military. He brews his own. He loves IPAs. I'm not sure if you had it, Chris, by all means. If not, pick it up, give it a try. And it is hoppy. Wowzer. Normally I try to, when I put the can down, try to do it so the label is facing. Kind of hard with this one. So I have to get a rating, which is going to be hard for me because, like I said, I'm not a big IPA person. That's a strong IPA, holy jumpins. 8.5% alcohol, so. My ratings are always out of 5. A 1 being a drain pour, don't like it, can't finish it. A 2 would be, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I don't want to waste my beer, so I'll finish it. A 3 would be a good beer. A 4 would be a very good beer. A 5 would be the best beer ever. Finding this one really difficult. I'll say it again, not an IPA fan, so this one. But it is tasty. I'll definitely finish it. I think I'm going to give this one a 3.0. And once again, I'm not an IPA fan, so it's probably not a fair rating. So I'd love for any viewers that have tried this, or they're going to try it, to let me know if you're an IPA fan. 3 is not a bad rating. 3 means it's a good beer. And for me, like I said, God, I'm struggling with this one, folks. I think I'm gonna stick with a 3. I don't really want to give it lower, simply because I'm not an IPA fan. I don't think that's really fair to give it a lower rating just because I don't like the style of beer. So I'm trying to give it a rating as an IPA, as a beer that I don't normally drink. So I think 3 would be fair for me. However, as I said, I think if you like IPAs, you'll probably give it a much higher rating. But it's definitely unique, I'll give it that. Everything from the can. And honestly, I don't know. I've had strong IPAs. I don't know if I've had any that have been labeled Imperial IPA, so that's kind of different. It's not a bad beer by any means. It's just, it's not my cup of tea per se. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Because even though I'm not an IPA fan, so you'd think obviously a double IPA would probably be less, but I'm actually finding it easier to drink than I thought I would as a double IPA. So I would say I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would for an IPA, if that makes any sense. Now, would I go out and buy a 6-pack of them? Probably not, but that's pretty well the case with any IPAs for me. So, as a double IPA, I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. Yeah, it's tasty. Yeah, I think I'll stick with the 3.5 for the Omnipollo. Try it again.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh. Give me a second here, folks. I hate trying to pronounce it myself.
Babylon, who was the longest reigning and most powerful monarch of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. We are looking at how to pronounce Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar. So there you go, folks. 3.5. Next week, I have no idea. I have nothing lined up, so I'm actually going to have to hit the store. All of our liquor stores are closed, so it'll probably be something local that I'll just pick up at the corner store. So there you go, folks. Hopefully you join me next week. 3.5. Until next brew, as always, enjoy responsibly. Cheers.